Welcome and let's begin this class. It's a level 2, 3, so it's not for beginners. Here we go. On our inhale, we're going to have the back of the hands touching each other. I'm going to roll the spine up so it feels like you're zipping up to the sky, and then you open your heart. Inhale, exhale when you're ready. Hands in prayer, fold down to the floor. Release the shoulders, release the neck, body towards the legs. Inhale halfway out, Ardha Uttanasana, where you lengthen the spine. Exhale, right leg back into a lunge. Let the hips soften down, move smoothly and softly. Inhale to the top of the push-up position. Exhale, lower all the way to the floor. As you release down, release the feet, roll the shoulders. Feel your heart is in a bubble as you inhale, lift and open the chest. Open the throat, exhale, release the spine down, let the forehead touch the floor. Inhale when you're ready up to all fours, and then on the exhale we're going to move the hips towards the heels. If you need to move the hands to get the hips closer to the heels, do so. And soften again your head, completely letting go. Inhale up to all fours. Gently move the hands a little bit forward so there's no strain on the wrists as you soften your hips forward. On the exhale to a soft up dog, where you open your hip flexors, and maybe as you turn your head left and right, you notice a little bit more tension released on each side. Inhale up to all fours, tuck the toes, spread the fingers, and make sure the inside of the hand is engaged for your downward dog. Take a moment here, let the body rebalance, then inhale, heels high, exhale, left heel down, right knee bends. Let's do that on the other side. Inhale, both heels high, exhale, change sides, releasing tension in the back of the straight leg as the weight releases down on that leg. Inhale, both heels high, and exhale. You're not coming all the way down, but you are bending your knees. So it looks like downward dog, and then we come to all fours without the knees touching, making a core connection. Inhale, hips and heels up. Exhale, keep the hips up as you move the heels back and the spine lengthens. Now this time we are going to drop down onto our knees for cat and cow pose. So we come to all fours comfortably, and if you want to release the feet you can, and you inhale, squeeze the back muscles, stretch the chest. On the exhale, stretch the back muscle and squeeze the ribs into the body and the abdomen. The chest closes, chin to chest. And then do that one more time. Inhale, and you feel maybe any tension in the neck or the hips, the waist. And on the exhale, we can do the same. As we exhale, maybe we'll give a little jiggle left and right, noticing any tension on the side body. And then we just slowly bring the right foot forward. It's more important that we land softly than to throw the leg forward. And here we go, softening. Step both feet forward with core connection. Hands slide up the legs towards the knees as you inhale, lengthen the spine parallel to the ground. Exhale, release the spine down towards the ground. Again, bend the knees, back of the hands touch. This gives it an opportunity for the spine to roll up one vertebrae at a time, unfurling the spine up. Inhale and exhale, hands to heart. Now we're going to go for a second sun salute. Again, back of the hands touch. That helps round the spine because we are rounding and rolling the spine up. Once the hands pass the head, the chest opens, legs straighten, and then we exhale, we fold and release down. Hands by the sides, chin to chest. Let's do the second side. Inhale halfway out. If you prefer to leave your hands closer to the ground in this one too. Exhale, left leg back into a lunge. And inhale, top of the push-up. Exhale, lower down all the way to the floor. Elbows are by the ribs. So we don't want the elbows too far, and that helps the rotation of the shoulder joint. Inhale, as we did before, it's cobra pose, where the chest feels like it's in a bubble. We look up, and then exhale, softening down. And when you're ready, pushing into the hands, lift the hips, inhale up. And then again, just like we did before, exhale, move back towards child's pose. Softening and releasing the head. Inhale up to all fours. And again, replace the hands to where it's more beneficial for the body. No tension on the wrists. So you can soften your hips forward, exhale. Also your toenails push down so they're not, the foot isn't rolling on either side, and that means the quads get that release. A gentle turn left and right with the head and the shoulders to release any excess tension before we get ready for downward facing dog. Round 2. We give a moment for the body to rebalance. Any length in the back of the knees, the hamstrings, the calves. Here we go. Inhale, right leg up. And open the hip, bend the right knee, and lift the right knee a little bit higher before you rotate your ankle joint a little bit in one direction and a little bit in the other direction. So just opening the hip. Now square the hip, extend the leg with the hip square. Feel connected to the core, and then bring the leg back and down. We're going to do that same sequence on the other side. Inhale, left leg up, and as you open the hip, you start and bend the knee, you start to rotate the ankle, and then when you're ready, change. Now you'll notice that when you square the hips, how it changes from the inner thigh adductors to the hamstrings. So we're squaring the hips, feel that stretch on the back of the grounded leg, and leg down. Good. Now we're going to go to the first leg. But this time we're keeping the hips square. Inhale up and exhale from plank position. Bring the knee to the forehead, forehead to knee. Inhale the leg back one time and then exhale. Looks like you're doing the same pose again. Knee forward, right leg down, right foot back, and then the left foot goes straight and the back left heel goes down. Inhale, left arm up to the sky, and that can be a stopping position, or if you'd like, you can add just a little bit more action by lifting the left leg. Now that's going to help strengthen the outer leg, the outer glutes of that top leg. And then we're slowly coming back and down before we get to do that same sequence on the second side. Inhale, left leg back and up. Exhale, left foot rounds the spine. It's like you're an angry cat in Halloween, and also with a plank position, knee to chest, knee, and then when you're ready, inhale, reach that left leg back and up. And then exhale, bring it forward and place that left knee on the ground, but bring the foot off to the left a bit more off the mat. The right leg stays straight, the right heel goes down as you open the right hand to the sky. And then option 2 is lift the right leg to strengthen the outer side of the right hip, the glutes, the medius and the minimus. So really important muscles to try and strengthen the outer body. Back to all fours. And we're going to do cat and cow again, but this time when we do cat and cow, we're going to use circular motions rather than linear up and down. So the last one was sagittal plane, up, down, up, down. This is more, let's feel what the tissue is like when we squeeze into other areas we don't normally get to address. So imagine your spine like a skipping rope, and we just went around a couple of times in one direction. Now let's go the other direction. It's like you're moving the spine in a skipping rope in the other direction, and it starts to open up tissue that we wouldn't normally get a chance to open. We'll do it one more time. Inhaling as we go to the head to the sky, and exhaling as we go to that angry cat Halloween position. And after we're doing that 2 times, we're just going to do again opposite hand, opposite leg, so that diagonal strengthening of the core body. The reaching of the heel and the heart, and think of the hand as an extension of the heart, so you're reaching away, and then on the exhale, reach that front hand is going to reach back and grab that high leg. So left hand holds right foot, and think of your foot pushing into the hand to open the chest, the shoulder opens, or you could also think of the hand pushing into the foot to open the hip flexor of that leg. So there's a lovely diagonal stretch in that pose. So we go from strengthening to stretch. Here we go. Inhale, opposite side. Right hand, left leg. Diagonal strengthening. And when you're ready, we're going to reach back and grab that left leg. So right hand grabs left foot. And then we push and open the body. And if it ever feels front heavy in the body, if the foot pushes a little bit more into the hand, it takes a lot of the weight off the front body, and the front hand on the ground that's grounded feels a little bit lighter. And then we slowly come out of that, a little bit of a back bend before we go into core stabilization. So this is just plank position from the elbows. And what I want to make sure is that my shoulders are over my elbows, my hips are the same height as my shoulders, and more importantly, there's no tension in the neck. And check to see if the lower back is lower collapsing, like if there was a saddle that could sit on my lower back. We want to remove that curve in the lower back just to feel the connection of those muscles on the front body. That's it. And keeping the head still or soft. Notice how the body feels as you breathe with ease. So there's action, but there's not gripping. And when you're ready, exhale, slowly come down. Now, the next pose is called Locust Pose. And I'm going to do this with a strap. For anyone with tight shoulders, the strap is really helpful because if you get your arms wider, that means you can get your arms higher. So there might be a sweet spot for everybody. And as we lift the legs, knees, and we point the toes away, the big toes point away, you'll know if you feel like you're doing it right. If you feel like when you're breathing, your body starts to rock on the abdomen. So the breath fills the abdomen and the body starts to rock. And when you're ready, just one more, and exhale, release down. And rest the body. Let the hips wobble side to side. Just enjoy yourself. Now, what we're going to do is to make sure that all the tension is released. We're going to do a deeper pose, but I'm going to do this with support and a bolster. And the idea here is it's called bow pose. But if I put the bolster or any form of cushion under the ribs, the lowest ribs in the abdomen, what it stops is the front body feeling like it's going to fall forward. Now, as I reach back and grab my feet, don't think more is better. Think that if I push enough into the feet, again, the shoulders move away from the ears. And I feel a lovely softness in the chest. And there's that sense again, that abdominal breathing that makes the body have a sense that it's rocking a little bit forward and back. It's lovely freeing and tension in the body. And if you soften your hips down as you're in this posture, you get this lovely release in the hip flexors. And that's it. When you're ready, release out of that pose. And now it's time to, if we ever squeeze too much in the back, it's time to release that as we move into child's pose. I'm going to use the bolster to rest the head. The hips can soften back and down. And just let the breath return to normal. Nice and soft. If you don't have a bolster, you can also stack your hands like little Lego blocks. I'll demonstrate that a little bit later. Now, when we're ready, it's tucking the toes and hands in prayer. This is a lovely stretch for anyone that has plantar fasciitis. So that's this inflammation of the sole of the foot. That sometimes the shape of our foot or sometimes just a destabilization in the foot can cause an inflammation that can eventually come to heel spurs. So here what we're going to do is strengthen the foot by leaning the weight of the body back so the knees lift up. You're not lifting the knees. You're leaning the weight of the body back so the knees lift in response. And then we strengthen the foot in toe stand and in a balanced pose. The eyes are steady on one point. The hands are at the heart where we feel the thumbs rest on the sternum, feel the softness of the breath. And let's do the counter pose. Before the weight now is no longer in the front foot, but actually the weight goes into the heel. And the counterbalance is the hands reaching forward, giving permission again for the lower back to release. Keep the knees bent. If possible, keep the knees bent as low as your hips, as low as your knees, before we go into the third pose. And using that same principle of shifting weight forward and back, this is the final pose. This is in that principle. And it is called crow pose. So with the shoulders away from the ears, we lift the hips till the elbows are below the knees. And then we just rock the weight forward into the hands. Keep the shoulders away from the ears. And just let the breath flow. And then when you bring your feet down, bring them as wide as the mat. So it's called Maulana, Garland pose, or just a small squat pose. And you don't dump your hips down if it feels like it's hurting any part of the hips. So it should feel, what keeps your body letting go is it feels that it's supported. And sometimes we feel support of the strength of our body. Now, sometimes it's nice to rock the body weight forward and back, and maybe even we might add a little twist to one side and give it time for the body to feel the effort that you put in. So you don't just rush in and out of the pose, but staying with it, sitting with the release of tension in the body. And then we do the other side when you're ready. The body slowly lets go. So we lift one heel, then the other, but the elbows remain in a straight line, equidistant. And then come back to neutral. Now, slowly bring your hands down. When you're ready, we're just going to get the body ready for a different way to come out of downward dog. Now, you can step your body forward from downward dog, but just to challenge ourselves a little bit, we're going to inhale, heels up. And when we do that, we'll feel a deeper connection to the core. On the exhale, keeping that connection to the core and the chest open, bend the knees, look between the hands and step or jump forward. Bring the feet together. Inhale, lengthen, and exhale, fold the body down. And now when you're ready, just let the spine unravel before you do anything else. Holding the elbows, checking for any tension in the neck, maybe moving the head a little left, a little right. Maybe starts to move your elbows like you're cradling a baby left and right, which helps out the spine soften and unravel. Now, active again. Inhale, halfway out, making the spine parallel to the ground, building strength in the back, lengthening the back muscles before we move into the next pose, Warrior 3. When you're ready, feel the weight on your left foot. Inhale, right leg up. Bring your hands forward. The heel reaches back, the heart reaches forward, and the equal action on either side of the hips. That equal action reaching away from the hips keeps the body balanced. And when you're ready, slowly bring the leg back in with control. Place it by the other feet. And again, hold your elbows. Maybe hold the other elbow this time. So you'll notice that one shoulder gets a bit more softening. Again, the spine can lengthen left and right. So we learn to release after every time we squeeze. Here we go. Getting ready for the next side. Arms wide. Squeezing the back muscles. Looking forward only to help open the chest and change the shape of the spine, the thoracic spine, the heart spine, by looking forward before the hands and the heart reach away from each other. The hands and the back leg reach away from each other. Notice the 4 points of connection on your standing leg. That over time, when we straighten that standing leg, the connection we have in the hip and the core. And bring the knee into the head, feel connected to the core, and drop back down into a folding posture. Let's rebalance the body. Hold the back of the legs as far down as you can, maybe even the heels, maybe even underneath the heels as you draw your body in towards the thighs. Bend your knees and articulate each vertebrae up. So you feel that kinetic chain. When you bend the knees, you can feel each part of the spine slowly unravel. Lengthening up and exhale, leaning back before you bring your hands to heart. Take a breath. Now, I'm going to use a block here. I'm going to put a block between my thighs. If you don't have one, you don't need one. It's just to give that extra connection, that inner thigh muscle connection, before I bend the knees for chair pose and then sweep the arms just forward at the moment. Now, over time, I want you to notice the action of lifting the arms higher, but without the lower back compensating. So we're not trying to change anything in the lower back. Just keep the spine in neutral as you reach the arms up. And on your next exhale, twisting to the outside of your left knee. You only look up because it helps twist the spine, but it's your shoulders that are actively twisting the spine. The gazing point is to facilitate that twist. So as you look past your left shoulder, Stay soft, feel long in the spine. And every exhale is twist, every inhale is lengthen. And now we're going to come out of that side. Let the body rebalance before we get ready for the other side. Again, how we get into it, we first move into chair pose. We engage the legs, the lower body. That connection of strength in the lower body gives us an opportunity to feel an openness in the upper body. The gaze is between the hands and the head, working in unison to open the heart center. And then we twist to the other side. Left elbow, outside right knee. You can help yourself kind of wiggle into it any way that helps you feel that connection, that bind. Every point of connection brings awareness in the tissue. And every inhale feels long in the spine, and every exhale helps twist that right shoulder up and back behind you to feel that nice release of tension in the back. And now come back down, rebalance the body in a fold. And let your breath return to normal. Enjoy doing nothing, letting gravity do the work. And again, roll the spine back and up, back of the hands, open the chest, and exhale, hands to heart. Get rid of the block. Here we go. We're going to do another vinyasa. Inhale, hands overhead. Exhale, arms wide and fold down to the floor. Chin to chest. Inhale, lengthen spine. Exhale, right leg back into a lunge. Inhale, arms up to the sky. On the exhale, lean the heart and head back. Then slowly let the arms go wide. And as the arms drop down, bring the head back down. So go to the top of the push-up. Exhale, lower down. Inhale to up dog. And look to the right. Look to the left. Any extra kinks that you need to work out. Slowly rolling over the toes. If it's okay in your feet, otherwise you just lift your foot. And just let the toes go to normal. Let the body rebalance. Is there symmetry between the left foot and the right foot? Is there symmetry between the left hand and the right hand? And not just their position, but how they connect to the mat, how they connect to the floor. You might notice a deeper or more aware connection on one hand or one foot more than the other. That's going to have an effect on the hips or the shoulders. Inhale, right leg up. And bring that right foot slowly forward. Feel connected to your core. Inhale, arms overhead. And on the exhale, bend the knee, head and arms back. And then the arms go wide and down. With core connection, step both feet forward. Inhale, lengthen spine. Exhale, draw the body inward. And bend the knees, roll the spine up. Inhale, arms wide and overhead. And exhale, hands to heart. So again, inhale, arms wide and overhead. Exhale, arms wide and fold to the floor. Inhale, lengthen spine. And this time, left leg. Exhale, left leg back into a lunge. Inhale, two arms up to the sky. And on this exhale, we're going to change into warrior two. Exhale, arms wide, like you're on a surfboard and the arms reaching away from each other. Take a moment to make sure the shoulders are away from the ears. And on the next inhale, I want you to look at your backhand. And on the exhale, as you follow your gaze, imagine that you're grabbing an arrow, putting it in a bow, and then drawing that arrow all the way back. So you put another arrow in the bow, you pull back, and notice how the shoulder, then the elbow, then the wrist, and the hand all articulate. Again, as the hand comes forward, the rib cage closes, and as you draw back, you inhale, open and expand. Exhale, turn the front palm. Straighten the front leg as you lean back for reverse triangle. Keeping the connection of all 4 points of the front foot. Feel that length on the front right rib cage and armpit, arm, and waist. Now I'm going to add something here, and if you have a block, we're going to get a block, and we're going to, it's called half moon Ardha Chandrasana. So I'm going to put a block pretty much like a walking stick. I'm going to replace the balance of both legs instead by shifting it from one hand and one leg. And when you're ready, inhale left arm up to the sky, and the gaze should slowly assist or facilitate the posture by also looking up. That helps that left shoulder look up, open a little bit more. The back leg is active and the toes are pointing forward, so the back leg is not floppy. Now look down before you come out, bend your standing leg and slowly go back into a lunge. Back into warrior two before we inhale, reverse into, move into reverse warrior, and exhale, elbow to knee. So this is called right angle pose, where it's a side body or lateral stretch. As you rest your elbow, open your chest and look up. If you want a deep reversion, release your right hand down to the ground while still looking up at your left hand. And again, another deep reversion is the top hand extends away from the baby toe of the back foot. So making the side outer body as long as possible with your breath. And gazing down before you come out, reverse warrior. Exhale, warrior two. And let's just rebalance the body for a minute. It's called wide-legged forward fold, hands to the waist. Exhale, elbows forward, chin to chest. Inhale, elbows back, chest open, throat open, look up. Change the direction of the spine. Exhale, hinge and fold. Release the hands down to the ground and let the body stretch. It should feel nice and soft in the spine. The weight is a bit more in the toes than the heels. So that gives an opportunity again for the calves and the Achilles and even the sole of the foot to get a stretch in the back of the knees that would not normally feel that. Now, I'm going to slowly ask you to walk your hands out. This is a much more comfortable downward dog. With the legs wide, they're not as far back behind you in this downward dog. And that just means there's less weight on the arms. With less weight, we can focus not on the stability of holding the front body up, but on the softening of the upper body. You'll notice it'll be an easier thing to have a hand connection. Maybe this one is more comfortable. Maybe it's still a little tight on different parts of your leg where you might not be able to straighten your legs, but just do the best you can. It reminds you to keep that weight forward in this posture. When you walk the hands back, still keep the weight a little bit more forward than that. Now we're just going to get ready to do the sequence on the other side of the body. So turning to the back of the mat. Inhale, arms up. Your left leg is forward and your right leg back. And exhale into warrior two. So it's the second side. Again, give yourself time to acclimate in stillness so you can feel and experience the posture without distraction before we add the ingredient of movement. When you're ready, bring your backhand all the way forward on the exhale. Now feel your chest open on the inhale. The stability of the lower legs, they're not moving, just the torso, the shoulders, feeling that inhale open. Exhale, bring the hand around for the last time. Feel the core connection. Inhale, feel the expansion and opening of the chest. Head and arm moving in unison. Exhale, turn the front palm. And remember, we're going to straighten the front leg. And exhale. I'm going to just do that again. Inhale, straighten the front leg. And hold. So this is called reverse triangle. Before we move into, again, half moon pose on the second side. So I just reach back, grab the block. And all we're doing is we're shifting, taking the weight off the back foot and replacing it with the weight of our front hand. So make sure you're comfortable. The hand should rest right under your shoulder. A good way to know if you're balanced is the weight on your standing leg. Does the weight feel even on the inside and the outside of the standing leg and the front and back? Or do you feel kind of heavy independent, gripping? So create the conditions where your body can calibrate, you can breathe, and you can be still. Getting ready to come out, look down, bend the standing leg as we go back from warrior two position, straight in the next inhale to reverse warrior. And just use that as a transition pose before we bring the elbow down to the front knee. Now, inhale, right arm up to the sky. And this might be the pose for you today. Just feel the spine spiral in this position. Or if we reach the hand, the bottom hand towards the ground, it'll help us bend our front knee and deepen our hip stretch. And then the final version, it's outstretched right angle pose where the top arm reaches away from the baby toe of the back foot, so it's lengthening the outer side of the body. The head is just facilitating the posture by looking towards the hand, helping the chest and shoulders open. Come back to reverse warrior. Inhale. Exhale into warrior two. And then we're going to come back right now to wide-legged forward fold with a few more variations. Exhale, elbows forward, belly button to spine. Inhale, elbows back, chest open, throat open. Exhale, hinge all the way down, and then slowly we'll let the hands walk down the legs. If you have the ability to grab the big toes of your feet with your index finger and your middle finger, use that connection, that bind, to pull your body towards your thighs. If not, just hold the backs of your legs and draw your body inwards. Enjoy the stretch. Enjoy the stretch. Nice and slow. Now I'm going to walk the hands out again, but I want to turn up the volume a little bit here. From downward dog, we're going to add one more thing. Just let the body acclimate. And now we're going to twist. Letting the right hand go towards anywhere towards the left leg or left foot. And it doesn't actually have to reach the foot. It can rest on the ground or even hold the leg. So there's a little bit more work in the shoulder, but it's a lovely spinal twist. It'd be great if you're ever playing a game of Twister, where you have to leave certain body parts down and seeing how your body can move in different directions. So get ready for the Twister Olympics. Here we go. And the other side. Left hand towards right foot. And when you've got enough on either side, let the body rebalance and slowly walk the hands back to center. Inhale, halfway out. This time we're going to just do a pendulum. With inhale, left arm up to the sky. Exhale, left hand down. And now the left hand is going to go under the right shoulder. Inhale, right arm up to the sky. See if you get a nice straight line from hand to hand. And exhale, right hand down. But it's going to go under the left shoulder. It's just now just moving in rhythm and smoothness. Exhale, hand down. Right hand, inhale up, feel the spine spiral, feel a connection of the grounded hand. Inhale, open, we'll just do one more time each side. And last one. Exhale, inhale, last opening, and come back to center. Inhale, halfway out. Exhale, hands to the waist, belly button to spine. Take a moment here, having the spine parallel to the ground, strengthening the back and lengthening the legs. Just enjoy that before you inhale, like your chest is filled with helium. Come on up to standing. And we're going to go into a squat. So very close to that. The only difference is the heels are in and the toes are out. And we're going to actually put the hands on the knees. Now bending the knees, bring your right shoulder to the midline of your body. And keep your right arm straight while twisting over your left shoulder. And now we're going to change sides. We're going to bring the left shoulder to the midline of the body, keeping the left arm straight and pushing the left knee out. Lengthen the spine and twist over the right side of the body. And that's the idea, is that the lower body is the anchor. Right shoulder down, twist. The lower body's strong, the upper body can lengthen and spiral. Other side, twist. And when you're ready, one more time each side. So, twist. And last side. Left hand pushes left leg away to drop the left shoulder and look over the right. And back to center. Now, bring your left hand out and bring your right hand all the way over. And if you can, bind at the elbows, and it's called eagle hand. So if you know what it is, that's fine. You twist the hands till they face towards each other. Inhale, elbows up. Exhale, shoulders down. Inhale, the forearms forward. And exhale, just roll the upper spine down, chin to your chest. Now notice how that feels, that bind in the arms, how it feels between the shoulder blades. It starts to pull and gently stretch any tension between the shoulder blades. And take a few soft breaths there before you bend your knees. Drop your hips down, and then I want you to sway side to side. You bring the elbows to the right knee while straightening the left leg. Elbows to the left leg while straightening the right leg. And just sway. Now feel soft in the spine. Imagine that your hands are like the rudder of a gondola. They're just swishing in the water left and right. And then come back to center. And feel softness, nips, lubrication, freedom, arms wide. Inhale all the way up before we get ready to do the other side. Right hand forward, left arm over, take the bind. Bend the knees, soften, inhale, elbows up. Exhale, shoulders down. Inhale, forearms forward. And exhale, roll just the upper spine. Chin to the chest. Notice how the shoulders and the head are continuously working in unison to bring release tension through the heart center area of the body. And now we're going to include the rest of the body. Bend the knees, drop the hips, and then swishing the spine side to side. Straightening the right leg, elbows to the left knee, straightening the left leg, elbows to the right. So what this does is it swishes a lubricant inside the hip joint called synovial fluid. It's also in the sacrum area of the body. So it's a natural thing that keeps everything soft and moving fluidly. And when we practice fluid movement, it actually encourages and promotes more of that liquid to be made in the body. To continue and bring that up. Inhale when you're ready, arms wide and overhead up to standing. And exhale, hands to heart. Lovely. Give yourself a chance to rebalance. Now we're going to take that further for, again, the full version of Eagle Pose. At least the version that's done in shadow yoga. So it's just almost like martial arts. We go to the first side. And when we're ready, we bring our left foot behind our right and squat down. So you're basically, the right leg is sitting over the left knee. And then we spiral the arms. Just spiral them is the easiest way as we move to the other side of the mat. It's like you're twisting a steering wheel around. The elbows are going to go outside the front knee. The hands go forward. Notice how that pulls the outer armpit forward and down, your chin to your chest. Strengthening the back, again, the plantar fascia of the leg, the compression of the knee joint, which feels healthy. And slowly, when you're ready, come out. Adding the next pose. And using the word compression, that's going to make sense here. The left foot is going to the right inner thigh. So think about all the points of contact. I'm going to say 5 points. Your standing leg, 1. The foot that pushes against the thigh, 2. The thigh that pushes back against the foot, 3. So that thigh and foot connection brings your attention through a kinetic chain through your core. And then you can either leave your hands in the heart center pushing against each other, which brings your tension to your heart through compression, or reach the hands up for full expression of tree pose. And that reaching quality, that tensile quality of stretching away, opens the chest. Here we go. We're going to get ready to go to the other side. So the foot is going to go to the inside of the thigh. And then you're going to connect to the hands of the heart. You feel a good connection through the front side of the body. If you want, you can go for the full expression. Turn the palms and lift up and out. The head and the arms working in unison to open the heart. That reaching of the hands to open the chest. The more stable the base, the softer the breath. Bring the hands together and draw back to center. And when you're ready, slowly come out. Now, if that is, I'm going to call it compression strength, think of this as tensile strength. Think of it as extended tree, where everything pushed towards center. Now I want you to feel everything pull away from center. Holding the left leg, 2 fingers around the big toe. Extend the body out. And if we feel the opening of the body is the upper body, the head and the right arm open away from the left leg. Drawing back to center. And releasing down before we do the other side. So think of this extended tree. Again, just a different way to gather information. The push and pull of our body. The tensile quality. Think of it like cling film. When we reach away and extend the leg, the muscles lengthen, heightening our awareness as we. So the gazing point is only to facilitate the posture. Even though the gaze is in one direction, the awareness on the tissue is completely throughout the body, not just where I'm gazing. And bringing it back to center. And I'm just going to ask you to take a moment, hands at the heart. Here we go. Step into the front of your mat again. In, arms wide. Roll the spine, zip up to the sky, feel it connect to the core. It's almost like you're squeezing toothpaste, that ripple effect. Exhale, arms wide and fold down. Release the head. Inhale, lengthen spine. Right leg, exhale, right leg back into a lunge. Now, the right hand is going to go off the mat and a little bit forward. And we inhale in brush strokes, left hand up. So we're slowly opening the hip. We're priming. This movement is going to prime it for a deeper twist in a moment. Inhale, 2. So this movement would be very somatic. The body moves as it feels, as it wants to move. There's nothing forced. Everything is felt. And then from there, inhale, 2 arms up to high lunge. Before we go into warrior 2 twist. So we're going to bring the right hand forward, the left hand back, and look to your back hand. So you're twisting the spine, but from a warrior 2 position. And see if you can draw your shoulders back over your hips. It'll feel nicer, easier to lean forward, but to get a deeper stretch. Now turn your right hand, inhale, right arm up, before we exhale, hands down to the ground. And we're getting ready for number 3. You drop your back knee down. Again, the right hand off to the side and a little bit forward. Inhale, left arm up like we did before. If this variation is available to you, grab your back foot. Move the heel towards the hip. But make sure you're doing it where your chest is open. You're not rounding the spine, and quite the opposite. You're opening the chest. Opening the tension of that left shoulder. The gaze is up beyond the left shoulder. And then slowly release down. Now this is called half monkey fold. Just coming out of monkey twist, and now we're in half monkey fold. And to keep the leg safe, the back of the knee safe, I'm actually asking you to flex the toes back towards the body. Even though you're pointing the foot forward, the toes are flexed back. And now this is a variation of another posture where you sit back on your heel. And you just fold over your front leg and relax down. Again, be wary of the back of the knee joint of the straight leg. If it feels good in your body, stretch. If it feels forced, do not force it. Bend that front knee and allow the body to release. Now, bending the left leg. The right knee is going to go on the outside. It's another spiral twist. So it's called half Lord of the Fishes pose. Bring your left hand behind your body. Inhale, right arm up to the sky. And now bring the right elbow outside the left knee. And once you have that bind, inhale, tall in the spine. Exhale, twist and look behind you. So every inhale is thinking length. Every exhale is, can I soften into the spiral? It's a little bit more of a bind now around the sacroiliac joint, where the spine and the pelvis meet. There's a connection there. It's a little bit more of a stretch around that lower back area. So just spinning around to do the other side. Again, another move that's great for the twister competition, if you ever want to do it. And here we are, we're doing half Lord of the Fishes on the other side. Inhale, left arm up to the sky. Exhale, left hand to the outside of the right knee. Inhale, tall. Exhale, looking over right shoulder. Every inhale, just feel length. And that back arm is supporting you. Back arm is like scaffolding. So you can keep it straight to lengthen the spine, or you can also use a little bit of muscular action to help twist the body. And now we're going to get ready for the second side. So again, I'm going to face towards the back of the mat. Hands down. And when I'm ready, inhale, right leg up to the sky. And exhale, right foot between the hands. So we're just getting ready for the second side of twists. So the first is the gentle twist. This time my left hand is going to go off the mat and a little bit forward. That gives my left hip more place to release down as I twist the right arm to the sky. And we're going to do that's 1. Inhale, right arm up. 2 for brush stroke. Feel the left hips twist and spiral and drop down. Exhale down 2. Last 1. Inhale up 3. Feel the chest open. And down. Now let's reset the body. As we set up for high lunge. When you're ready, inhale both arms up to the sky. And then twisting to the right, right arm back, left arm forward. And our gaze is to the right hand. Twisting the outer right hip in a nice lunge twist. And just take a few breaths here. Allow the body to slowly release. 6, 5, 4. Inhale, left arm up. Exhale, windmill hands on either side of the front foot as we set up for the next variation. Left hand off, then left hand forward. Inhale, right arm up. This time we go for the deep reversion by grabbing. Exhale, grab the left foot. And when you're ready, see if you can open and lengthen the spine and maybe even let the chest bubble. Pushing into the bottom hand to open the chest. Opening the top shoulder, looking up. And releasing the left hip down. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and slowly release. Getting ready for half monkey pose, half folding monkey pose, where you lengthen your right leg and you point the right foot forward, but you pull the right toes back. So foot forward, toes back. And that keeps the back of your knee safe, the co-activation of certain muscles along the leg, so you're not collapsing in the knee joint. Now slowly, when you're ready, sit back. Let your hips relax and rest on the heel. Inhale up and exhale, fold over the right leg. Anywhere, it can be behind the knee, the calf, the ankle, or anywhere just holding the foot, the toes, and release the spine down. Notice how the body reacts with the breath. So the breath is both informative of how the body is reacting, And it also, because it's conscious, can guide it to a more relaxing state. And here we go. When we're ready, slowly bring both feet forwards. Let the body rebalance. Active rebalance, inhale. Passive rebalance, exhale. Folding inwards. Bend the knees, back and arms wide. Inhale up all the way to the sky. Exhale, hands to heart. Great. So that's the twisting sequence done. And now we're going to start to open the hips. Inhale, left knee up into the chest. Exhale, give it a little squeeze. We just move the foot across and out. So this co-activation, I want you to think of the outer leg, the ITB, the iliotibia band. And as your standing leg is your stabilizer that holds your hips in a certain place. And the two mobilizers or activators in the posture is the high leg and the reaching left hand back. Before you come down and go to the other side. So let's start to open again the outer hips by pulling right knee into the chest. Hand goes to the baby toe side of the foot. And the dual activation, the mobilization of reaching the right hand back and the same time activating, reaching, and straightening the right leg. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Slowly, when you're ready, start to make your way out of the pose. Stepping back to the front of the mat, hands in prayer, just to rebalance the body, to give yourself a moment. And let everything calm down. When you're ready, inhale. This time we're opening the arms wide overhead. Exhale, arms wide and fold down. Inhale, lengthen spine. Exhale, right leg back into a lunge. And we're going to go for the deep twist. Inhale, right arm up and see if then we're going to, just for a moment, we're going to reach the hand up and back before we anchor, bend the elbow and anchor the wrist joint behind the base of the skull. That helps. Now again, the co-activation of the head and the arm opening the chest. Before we, it's like a judo throw, before we exhale the right arm outside the left knee. And the hands go in prayer. And that dual action of elbow and elbow as far apart as possible. Starts to open the chest. You can floss the hips by straightening and bending. Just see how that feels in the hips. And then we go for a much more active version. Once you lift the back knee, there's more action. Through the back leg, more stabilization, more, think of both legs as shoestrings. And even though they have a different action, both of those actions start to feel a tightening, a stabilization of the hips so we can twist and mobilize the spine upwards. And when you're ready, we're going to go for straight leg pyramid. So it's a wide straight leg pyramid, and for this version it's okay for the heel to be up. Even though the heel's up, it is releasing back and down, but it doesn't have to flop down. So there's a lengthening of the calf, the back of the knee, and the Achilles, the sole of the foot and the back leg. And here we go, we're going to just change to the other side. So we're going to go for lunge twist again. When you're ready, we start and build from the ground up. Inhale, left arm up and open the chest, head and arm back before you bend your left elbow behind the base of your skull. And then again, the head and the arm, open the chest by inhale up. And again, like that judo throw, bring that elbow out to the outside of your front knee, the outside of your right knee. Flossing the hips forward and back. Hands in prayer. And don't drop the hip too far down, because you want to make sure that if any part of your leg is dumping or switched off, it can feel a compression in the lower back. So there is dual activation of both the front and the back leg. And again, we're going to use that image of heel and heart reach apart. So we reach the back heel back as we pull the chest forward. And as we push into the bottom elbow, we spiral and open the chest. Gaze up beyond in the direction of the top shoulder as the top shoulder spirals up and back. And there we go. Release slowly out of that. for pyramid pose, wide-legged, fold and stretch. Letting the body relax over the front leg, softening down. Taking a few moments here, taking a breath. Step both feet forward. Inhale, lengthen the spine. Exhale, fold down. Bend the knees. Arms wide and overhead. Exhale and start. And now we're going to open up for standing pigeon variation. So left knee up, and the ankle is going to go across and rest on top of the right thigh. But the left foot is actually active. The foot is moving towards the knee, and the toes are also moving towards the knee. And that activation protects the knee as we hinge the body forward. So the action of the foot means the stretch happens primarily in the hip. And if you'd like another variation, it's cradle the baby, where this bind again introduces a lot more of the upper body tissue into the stretch. Just giving variations. Hands at the heart is fine. This is just another variation. And every time, as I said, we connect to something, it deepens our awareness or has potential to. And here we're going to remove the leg as we just rest on the hands and lift the feet off the ground. How does the body react? Is there a gripping involved, or are we still in control of what's going on in our body? Slowly bring the leg back and down. And when you're ready, get the foot, lift up, give it a stretch and release. Now we're just going to do the same thing on the other side. When you're ready, right knee up, ankle across, let it rest on top of the left thigh. Remember, the right foot is active, toes pointing back towards the knee. The hands are going to meet in prayer. That dual connection, that hand pushing against hand, gives a connection through the chest and shoulder girdle. We lengthen the spine and hinge down. And you can play with bending the knee, which will give a different sensation, or releasing the spine. So there's 2 points there that's going to have an effect on the hip. Maybe you'll go for cradle the baby bind, where your elbows go outside both the foot and the knee. And in a slightly easier version, it's just having one hand around the foot, but the other hand soft, not resting around the knee. So it's just a different bind, and it can be holding the wrist rather than the elbows. Here we go, getting ready to prepare for the arm balance. And you might notice that the toes of the high leg are hooking around the upper arm. And that just gives a little bit more of a hugging action as you bring the foot off the ground. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And down with the foot. And here we go. Lift up, slowly bring the foot all the way up to the thigh. Give it a little stretch. And release. And this is where we move again the hips around. So my fingers are resting on the ASIS. These little knobbly bones on the front of the hips. So you can feel how your hips are moving forward and back. Do you play favorites? Is one higher than the others? Your pelvis out of alignment. And I'm going to put my hands on where the hip socket would be. The thigh bone into the pelvic area. Just notice how that feels. Here we go. We're going to just go straight to the floor. And I'm going to use this particular pose for core strengthening. Now, any inversion. This is headstand. If you prefer not to do headstand, this is the time maybe to put legs up the wall, shoulder stand, downward dog, child's pose. They're all good. So I like to drag my body along the ground because it means that I have a connection all the way. Sometimes it means I drag my mat up, but that's all right. It means that I'm not hopping into it. And sometimes I'll equate, as I do with most inversions, sometimes people, it's like throwing a stone. When you throw the stone, it leaves. The connection of your body leaves. And you're just waiting for it to land. Wherever it lands is just, it's by chance. And I sometimes see people getting into inversions that way. And sometimes that's necessary. But if it's possible, you always have a connection if you slowly, again, move it into a balanced posture where the hips go back, almost like a crane. And then that long length of the legs counterbalances the weight of the hips. So the hips have to be behind as the legs are counterbalanced. And then slowly as the legs go up, the hips and the legs go into the straight line. I'm going to just fix the mat and lie down. And this is a lovely resting pose. It's so simple. And it's done in a lot of the older yoga practices. This is what you would do. You would just release. Now this next pose, Makarasana, it's a great pose for releasing tension in the lower back. How it's achieved is the rotation of the foot outwards, the inner thighs start to soften and open the belly, and then the reaching of the arms overhead stretches the shoulders, so the only thing that's not stretching is the belly, and that belly then when it pushes into the ground, that inflation rebounds back into the spine and softens it. So after that, after a little bit of softening in the lower back, we go for another pose of introspection, child's pose. And I'm doing it here with my hands under my head, like little Lego blocks, like little Jenga blocks, where if the weight of the upper body is falling too far forward, then the lower body doesn't get a chance to release. So by holding up the upper body, it gives the lower body, the hips, more of a chance to release down and back. The next pose is called Thunderbolt pose, Banjara, and it's used in meditation. I just want to see if we can sit in stillness. And don't worry about how you look. Think about how comfortable you are. That is the key. And if there's a sincere investigation or inquiry into how comfortable you are, you'll notice that it's very linked to the breath and the alignment of the body. But sometimes when we try and rush into our perception of what we think comfort is, it just brings more tension to the body. So get comfortable, and that usually is a lengthened spine. Here we go for sitting forward fold. Again, you can do it with knees bent, legs straight, holding the back of the knees, the calves, the ankles, the toes. But as with most folding postures, they're for introspection, turning your attention inwards, not noticing anything but how you are feeling in the posture. Let the breath flow. Now, at some point, if you can go deep enough into this folding stretch, it's almost like an abdominal massage, as well as releasing tension along the back. But nothing is forced and everything is felt, and it's felt through the breath. And slowly release out of it. I'm going to do, it looks similar to what we just did. Instead of bringing the mountain to Muhammad, we bring Muhammad to the mountain. So we'll just bring the feet over the head and then towards the head. So it's the same folding posture, but what I'm going to use this for is to articulate and feel each vertebrae and notice it, giving it time to notice the release. If the legs are bent, so be it. But notice how your spine can articulate down one vertebrae at a time. And you'll notice, by the way, if you don't rush it, you give your lower back time to release just by staying with it a little bit longer. It gives it time to dissolve and release the tension. Here we are, just a few leg lifts. Bring awareness, strengthen the hip flexors. We're about to squeeze all the hip flexor muscles and the abdominal muscles because in a minute we're going to release them. So sometimes it's really nice. It's almost like going back to a starting line in a race. You want to feel everything squeeze to its potential, connect there, have that connection, and your body should want to lengthen away from that after a few. So notice the quality of your action, the smoothness of your movement. And just maybe a couple more. Exhaling the legs up, inhaling down, exhale up, inhale down, last few, exhale and inhale, exhale, and inhale. Now, the next pose we're going to set up is supported Urdhva Dhanurasana. Some people call it wheel pose, some people call it bridge, some people call it upward facing bow. And the idea here is that sometimes the tightness of the shoulders means that we're asking an awful lot of our wrists. That's a very acute angle for the wrist to turn the palms down to the ground. So if I remove the necessity for the palms to turn to the ground, that angle is less acute, and then we can just focus on opening our chest. So we push into the feet, we make that bridge or wheel or upward facing bow shape, and that pushing into the feet starts to move the chest closer to the wall or closer to the hands, and that action starts to open the shoulder girdle and strengthen the upper back muscles. When you're ready, slowly come down. Give yourself a moment to just come to lie in your back. Now, I'm going to do just a really simple movement-based sequence. Move your knees around in a circle, in slow circles like you're stirring a pot of porridge, so they're not quick. And then when you're ready, change direction. Now the next type of circle, I'm going to just call it butterfly circles or breaststroke circles, where the knees move away from each other in a circle and then back together. And see how that feels in the lower back as the hips rock forward and back in those circles. And then change direction. And then take a moment. Now, holding the left knee in, let the right leg extend along the ground and just see how your ankle rotation is. A couple in one direction and a couple in the other direction before we set our body up for a spinal twist. And a spinal twist always feels nice after that back bend, a deep where we squeeze all those back muscles in the back bend. Bridge pose. These are nice where the muscles lengthen and then spiral and twist. The next pose is lying down half lotus. Just going to hold the left foot with the right hand and then bring the left arm over the head. So the two things happening is the arm and the knee are moving down to the ground, and they're also, because of the hinge joints, moving away from each other. When you have that feeling, it's a lovely lengthening on that side of the body. And then the next pose, we did the standing extended tree, but this time it's lying down extended tree. Supta Balangasthasana. And as the leg lengthens away, notice how the inner thigh and even across the lower abdomen starts to feel relaxed and released. And then we'll go into revolved extended tree. This is a lovely feeling. And if you have the use of a wall, if you're, in this case, my left foot rests on that wall, it can really help. Again, that connection point can help deepen our awareness of what's going on in the body. And finally, forehead to knee, knee to forehead. If there's a problem getting the foot to the head, you can actually bend the opposite leg, in this case the right leg, and it'll help the hips rotate, so it just allows the head to reach the foot. Now we're going to do the other side, and with the right knee in, we rotate the ankle joint left and then right, one direction and the other before we do our spinal twist. So just think of your spine revolving, articulating, and imagine again, think of your spine like a spiral staircase. So each vertebrae, instead of thinking of it as groups, just see if you can notice space or movement between each one. Is there potential for any more release in between the vertebrae? As we come out of it, we're going to prepare for number 2. This is a really nice hip opener. As we go into half lotus, where the knee drops forward and down, and the hand comes over the head. Now if you want to feel a bit more open in the hip, you push that right foot into the upper thigh, and the foot as it pushes down, drops the knee down and opens up a little bit more. Number 3, lying down extended tree, where the leg reaches away, but we counterbalance by being active on the left leg, looking toward the left hand, reaching the left hand, and those 3 actions allow a release of tension on the right side of the body. And now we do this, the revolved version of that same pose. And again, this We do this standing, and it releases tension mostly along the outer leg. And these tension bands, think of it like sometimes the image for some of you is like a sports car. That tension band, the iliotibia band attaches, and then there's the tensor fasciae lata, another tension area, and that releases all the way around. And it connects to that sacroiliac joint area of the lower body. Finally, we're going to move into head towards foot, give it a squeeze, lengthening the back of the right leg before we go into both knees into the chest. So this is a great counting, balancing pose before we completely release. Squeezing everything in, releasing tension in the neck. Sometimes I get a little bit of release in the vertebrae, a little bit of a clicking that I seem to enjoy. Now, the setup for this pose is legs as wide as the mat, and if possible, the feet fall outwards and down. Now, if you have any tension in the two curves of the spine, like the lower back and the neck, release that tension. Now, think of the neck muscles, the connection points and 2 points, the back of the neck and the back of the head and the shoulders. So move the shoulders away from the ears. And if you slowly let the palms roll open to the sky with the arms away from the body, the chest starts to soften. And you're not holding with the arms away from the body, there's no tension in the armpit area or muscles that we would normally habitually hold. We're removing those variables. Now, when you set up the conditions for everything to be soft, the breath should just be flowing. You should notice that you've done all the work. Have you the ability to let go? And sometimes it's easy to keep your attention on parts of the body when they're working, they're moving. But see if you can use this other aspect of when something is still and soft. Is that another part of the brain that can go, I can stay with the sensation, this softness, this delicate or sensitive. Work on your sensitivity in this posture. So you're not falling asleep. And if you fall asleep, that's okay. Maybe you need more sleep. But just, it's a practice of being soft. If there's tension anywhere in the body, notice where that tension is. Is there tension in your jaw, your lips, your forehead, the space between your eyebrows? Sometimes we make a number 11 when we furrow a brow. The muscles around the cheeks, the eyes, the eyelids. And imagine the muscles behind the eyes. They're like little hammocks that the eyes rest in. Imagine those muscles also softening. The eyes sink deeper inside the body. So the ultimate practice of yoga is not learning techniques. And it was compared to swimming. It's not the front crawl, the breaststroke, the backstroke. It's letting your body go and feeling supported. So you surrender in the water and the buoyancy of your body feeling supported in the water. There's no techniques. Everything we did was to bring attention to our body so we learned to let go. When you're ready, slowly rotate your wrists and your ankles. And then stretch your arms over your head. Maybe make the left side longer than the right side longer than the left. Let's do diagonals. Left hand, right leg, right hand, left leg. Bend both knees. Roll over the right side and work your way to a seated position. Now for this final part of the pose, the class, I'm going to ask you to sit in stillness. I will quieten down in this part of the class. But first we'll set up the conditions. I'm sitting on a bolster because my spine feels more at ease, not forced. I'm lightly touching the index finger and my thumb with the idea that I imagine it as a form of sensitivity, that I don't grip anywhere in the pose. I just get the spine to where I'm comfortable, so there's an ease of breath, a balance of the head over the shoulders, so there's an ease of stillness. So this is the sattvic state. Is the idea that you can be alert and at ease at the same time. Slowly, when you're ready, bring your hands together. And sitting tall, slowly bring your hands towards your forehead for clarity of thought. Bring your hands towards your lips for clarity of speech. Hands towards your heart for clarity of action. So we're clear in everything that we think, everything that we say, everything that we do. Namaste.